Hey there, Dango Stu here. Today's video is about what's up with the boat build and is proudly sponsored by marineengine.com. I haven't done a video on the boat build for a while for a couple of reasons. So one of the main reasons I slowed up on it was because the next phase of the build was doing the plates for the hull. And that involved probably, I don't know, let's say 4 days work. And each day I've kind of got 1 day to make a video, and then I would have to do 4 days work to make these plates. And the process of making them were already covered by the lofting video and the butt joint video. So it really wouldn't have been until about the 5th day that I would have had something new to show, which would have been fitting the plates. Obviously in the meantime then, I would have also had to have made a different video for each of those weeks, and there was just no way I could find the time to do that. Also, because I've never built a boat before, this sort of was an experiment for me, and how hard is it to make your own boat? I think perhaps I was slightly ambitious with a boat this size and of this complexity. I don't think it's particularly complex, but I just think it probably would have made sense for me to start with something a little bit smaller, a little bit simpler. And that's what I'm planning to do. Also, there's hopefully going to be a few changes at the workshop where we're looking to get another mechanic in to do that side of the business, which means I need to move some of the stuff for the YouTube stuff back home. Now, I don't have as much room there either. So as well as going to an easier boat to build for the first time, it's also one that I can fit in my old workshop where I started filming. So I'm going to be moving everything there, and I'm going to be doing a fresh build, which will be much simpler, much quicker, and I'll be doing it from home. First, I felt like a bit of a piker. I was like, you know, man up, put a teaspoon of concrete in your tea or whatever, but I think this actually makes sense. There's also a couple of reasons for me personally. One is I have the green machine. I actually don't need a boat of this size. I also thought it might be a nice little boat that you could either put on the roof of the car and just go on holidays if you want to go and explore a lake rather than doing all my boating in the Hawkesbury. So I'm kind of pleased to have a boat that's different to the green machine, serves a different purpose. I also think it's good from a point of view for viewers. If you're a viewer who doesn't own a boat and you're thinking, I wouldn't mind getting this boat, how can I do this as cheaply as possible? I think a little boat like this is going to cost a lot less than the big boat was going to cost, and I think it's more achievable, so it might inspire a few more people to think, actually I can do that. That one was actually looking quite hard, but I feel like I can do this. So I think it's good from that point of view too. This is what it looks like. I'll put a link to the plans in the description of the video, but just a nice little flat bottom skiff. A couple of other cool things about these plans is they were cheap. It was $50 US, so I think it worked out to be about 75 Australian, so not expensive at all. Comes as a PDF, so you get it straight away, then I just printed it. All the plans are lofted, so there's no tracing, and that I must admit was my least favourite part of the other build. I found it quite hard to keep all the paper straight. Also, what I loved about the lofting, particularly with the longitudinals, is you go, oh, is that right? You go to the plans, take a measurement, check it, go, yeah, that's right, much more easily than going to some paper plans, which I then had to assemble from multiple sheets, get a measurement, then go and check it. So I like the way these are done. Also, this is not all of it, there's more, but these are the instructions it comes with. It's really detailed information for your $50 on how to build this boat. Whereas the other one had a bit more assumed knowledge, some basic instructions, 5 or 6 pages, and a sort of reference to go off and read the Guzan brothers' book on boat building, which is a great book. I love reading it, it's really enjoyable, but these are much more specific to this particular boat, whereas that book is more sort of wide-ranging. So I think as a first-time boat builder, to have a simpler boat to build, be given this much information, I think it's going to be a good choice to have pulled the pin. It's a bit like those easy outs, know when to stop. I'm going to be using the strongback that I made for this boat, so that effort's not wasted. I'm just going to get that sent home. Bit of a hassle getting it to the island, but I'll get it there. I might cut it slightly shorter just to fit, but I think it'll work. The next question I have is, how much of the old boat ply do I reuse? Because this boat's smaller, I believe that I'll be able to cut the transom for this boat out from the centre of the transom from the original one. So I've got all that laminating done, I've got the timber that's been paid for and bought, and I intend to reuse as much of that as I can. But I'm pretty sure, it's not spot on, but I'm pretty sure all those bulkheads and longitudinals and the transom are pretty good. They might need a bit of tweaking, but they're pretty good. So I thought I'll wait. I'm not going to cut any of them for a week or so, because if anybody in Sydney says, hey, you know what, I wouldn't mind building that boat, then I'll show it to you. I've disassembled it. It's kind of a flat pack. You could fit it in a trailer really easily. So I thought I'd wait to see if anyone wants to take that project over, and then I'll use fresh ply. Otherwise, I'm going to build it from that ply. So here's your chance. What I'm going to do is I'll show you what the other boat looks like flat packed, so you know what you're up against if you did want to take it on. What I will do as well is I'll go and pull the transom out of that pile of plates, and I'll measure the transom for this boat on that and just see whether it would be possible to cut this transom out of that one. Alright, so here are the bits sort of flat packed. Because it'd been assembled temporarily with the hot glue gun, it was pretty easy just to sort of scrape that off, melt it a little bit, and just pull it apart without breaking anything. The old boat was quite straight at the back, so the transom's quite wide, whereas this boat actually tapers in a little bit at the stern, so the widest point's sort of more, you know, about the centre here. So this transom fits width-wise very easily, but surprisingly close height-wise. This is the old transom, and then this is the top width, comes down quite close actually, so it was lucky there. Then it's a flat bottom skiff, so it comes all the way across, single flat bottom. It's going to make it much easier for me to build anyway, and then up to here. So really quickly I could cut the transom for this boat out of this one and be up and running. I think it's going to be very, very quick to get back to the stage we're at with this one, and then much quicker to push on and actually finish the boat. But as I was saying, I'm not going to cut into this transom at all yet. I'm going to wait and see if anybody wants these bulkheads and longitudinals because they want to build this exact boat. It's a bit of a head start. Can't vouch for 100% accuracy wise, but I think it's okay. I think it's pretty close. If someone does want to buy this, I'm not really looking to sell it for a lot of money. All I really would need is to get some replacement plywood to build this boat. But, you know, that's all. So a few other things about this boat. I've got some 6mm ply that I'd already bought. Thanks very much to Patreon supporters and some PayPal donations. And I've still got that plywood. Now that plywood's a 6mm plywood. This boat differs from the original boat in its basic construction technique in one way, in that this boat is spec'd out and planned to be a plywood boat, whereas the other boat was a plywood composite boat. So this other boat is built out of 9mm ply, and it just takes a bit of fiberglass tape on the seams. What I'm planning to do is use 9mm ply for the sort of the bulkheads, the thick for the transom, the double transom, all that kind of stuff, but actually use the 6mm ply for the hull plates, and I am going to glass it both sides. So I will be using more of a composite technique, I think, even though this plan is for quite a straightforward plywood boat. So this will take me longer to build than it would if you just followed their instructions and bought 9mm ply, but because I've got the 6mm ply, I figure I'll go that way. I've also got all the fiberglass, the West System epoxy, all that kind of stuff, and I figure just use it. I think it'll also make the boat more abrasion resistant. I'm not planning to use it as a commuter boat. I'll keep the green machine for that, but I just think, you know, having it on the trailer, launching it rocks, why not have it covered in glass? Now, another thing about this big boat is it would have needed about a 60 horsepower motor. I don't have one, I can't afford one. This obviously takes a much smaller motor. They're sort of saying, you know, 5 to 12 horsepower or something, which brings me back to another project that I really want to do. I mentioned it a while ago and I've done nothing with it since, but once again, I'm going to take it to the workshop at home and just work on it there. And that is this little JAP motor, little British motor. I really want to do this as a restoration, like a real, make it look almost sort of showroom condition again. I don't know exactly how many horsepower this is. I presume Model 80 is 80cc or something, so I'll see if I can find that out on the net. But I did actually find a PDF service manual for this, so I think we've got the information we need. I also think this motor could really match the skiff. The style of this motor could really match the skiff if I sort of paint it in a sort of a period, you know, way and make it look a bit old school. If that doesn't pan out, I would also consider going electric with this one. I think that could be fun as well, something to sort of look at. What is a larger trolling motor for a bigger boat? How does it perform on a boat like this? I think, you know, weight's not a huge issue in boats. I don't find, I'm not really looking to get this thing flying on the plane. So you could probably have 3 or 4 batteries somewhere positioned in it, get a little trolling motor. It could be a really nice combination. So there's 2 options for powering this boat. Both of those I think are quite achievable compared to finding a 60 horsepower motor for the other one. I think the great thing about this boat is I will be able to do the videos in reasonably rapid succession. I think it'd be nice once we get into the build not to have this thing where you have one video, 6 weeks later you have another video. I think, you know, this is an achievable enough project to polish it off pretty quickly. To be honest with you, the manual actually says you could construct the entire boat in a day if you just powered into it. Obviously more time for sort of fairing and finishing and everything, but the lofting has a lot of straight lines, flat bottom. It's pretty easy to get the basic parts cut out. So I hope this doesn't disappoint people too much. I definitely thought it was time to sort of, face the facts on this, adjust things accordingly, and just let you guys know what's happening. Plus, you get to hang out at my house. I'll try and keep a reasonable record again of what it's going to take to build this boat. It's going to be a lot less than the other boat as well. I've already bought the glass and the epoxy, so I'm going to glass it, but really, if you were building it as per the plans, you would only need some fiberglass tape and probably a couple of litres of epoxy, so it'll be a lot cheaper to build if you build it in that style as well. All right, we'll wrap it up here. Sorry it's one of those weeks where not a lot's happening, but I did feel the update was important. Let me know if you want this kit or these, parts of the boat, the started parts. If you don't, I'm going to cut it up and make the new boat from it. If you do, great. All right, well, take care and I'll catch you next week. Probably won't have the strongback to my house by next week, so we'll probably get some more mechanical stuff done, but once we launch into this one, I'll definitely push on pretty hard with it. All right, well, take care. I'll catch you soon. See ya.